Hey everybody, PC Outcast here, back with another episode of Everlasting Summer. Bright daylight struck my eyes. At first, I didn't pay attention, as I wasn't fully awake yet. On their own, my legs carried me towards the door. Semyon. I'll pronounce it Semyon. Damn, looks like I fell asleep and missed my stop. But there was no door. I looked around the bus and realized that it wasn't a good old worn-out L-I-A-Z, Leaz. Instead, the bus was an Icarus model, a new one. I froze in shock. How? What? Am I dead? Have I been kidnapped? No, I must be dead. I patted myself down feverishly, slapped myself painfully in the face a few times, banged my forehead on the back of one of the bus seats. It's clear. Either I'm still alive, or you can still feel pain when you're dead. But how could this happen? Maybe I slept for too long and ended up at the bus depot. And then, what? Did they put me onto another bus? I rushed out and took a look around. Greenery wherever I looked. Tall grass on the roadside, trees, flowers. Summer. But how? It was winter just a moment ago. My head was aching unbearably, as if it was going to explode. Slowly I began to remember. A long road running off into the distance. Forests, plains, fields, lakes, and forests again. I think I was sleeping. But then how can I remember all of it? And then, a gap. Some girl leaning over me. She softly whispered something into my ear. Then a gap again. I've been drugged. Then I woke up here. Who was that strange girl? Or was she just a dream? For some reason, thinking about her made me feel better and calmed me down a little. I felt warmth all over, coming from the inside. Could it be her who brought me here? Then I need to find her. And the best place to look for her is away from here. I rushed to the left, then to the right, then stopped, hesitating over where to go. Finally, I ran in the direction from which the bus had probably came. Oh. Physical exercise does refresh one's mind. Thoughts become clearer, and it gets a little easier to evaluate the surrounding reality. Not in my case, however. I was sitting on the roadside, wheezing, and trying to ease my sore throat by gulping breaths of hot air. In any case, the run did its job. The fear withdrew for a while. Maybe I really am just dreaming. Though recalling my self-harm on the bus, I immediately rejected the idea. Semyon. I'm neither dreaming nor dead. A narrow road ran through the field and far into the distance. That exact same road from my dream. It must be very far away from home. And it's not just that it was winter yesterday and it's summer now. It's the whole environment. Of course, summer is usually like this, green and hot, but here everything is not entirely lifelike. Everything looks like it was taken from the paintings of Russian landscape artists from the 19th century. With the exception of the high-tension power lines, I'm guessing? The grass is just too lush. The bushes are not like what bushes should be. They're so thick that you can't see anything through them, like treetops, honestly. And the trees themselves. The forest was quite far away, but the trees looked as if they had closed their ranks and were now just waiting for the order to advance into the fields and plains. I caught my breath and looked at the bus, which was now barely visible. That was a good run. Fear overtook me once again. Those power lines. There must be people here. But what does it mean? In fact, it means nothing at all. Couldn't they have power lines even in hell? Roasting sinners over hot coals? That's so last century. I must have reached the point of no return, after which you should either lose your mind completely or finally try to understand what is going on. And while I still have a choice, I should pick the second option. Slowly headed back to the bus. Of course, it was scary, but I'm not likely to find an answer in the fields or the woods, and this wretched bucket of bolts is the only kind of link that I have with the real world. Ugh. You carefully scout the area. A brick wall and its gates, crowned with a Sauveillanoc sign. Statues of pioneers standing on either side, and a road sign nearby showing the bus route number 410. Semyon. Oh, I guess that's me saying out loud, I assume. The trip's taking a bit too long today. I smirked. A person may start acting inappropriately in extreme situations. Something like that's probably happening to me now. The place didn't look abandoned at all. No rust on the gates, no damage to the walls. Sauveillanoc. What could have a name like that? Judging by the pioneer statues, it could be a kid's summer camp. Moreover, it appears to be open. Of course, the simplest explanation, logically speaking, explains nothing at all. Strange girl, the altered bus, summer, the pioneer camp. Thousands of theories went through my mind instantly, from alien abduction to lethargic sleep, from a hallucination to time and space shift. None was worse than any other, but there was really no way to pick a single one. Then it occurred to me, I can try to make a phone call. I took out my cell phone and dialed the first number from my contact list. Instead of signal strength bars, the screen was showing a thick cross. Alright, there may be no signal in such a remote place. Though I cannot be the only one who came here. Buses don't drive themselves. Or do they? I examined the bus from all sides to make sure that it wasn't a hallucination. Bits of dirt on the bottom, some rust here and there, faded paint and worn out tires. No, this was definitely a very ordinary Icarus. Yeah, exactly the kind of bus which takes you to places beyond your understanding if you carelessly fall asleep. I gave a nervous chuckle. Ugh. Came out all by itself, sporadically. Because this wasn't the right place or time to laugh. But where on earth is the driver? I cautiously sat down on the curb beside the bus and started to wait. My patience didn't last long. My anxiety seemed to have reached its peak, and I started to go slightly mad. In such a situation, anyone would have probably felt something similar. Aliens and parallel universes were gone from my imagination, leaving only void and darkness. Is this how everything will end? How my life will end? But I wanted to do so much. There were so many things that I had no time for yet. I was overwhelmed by the idea. This was definitely the end. But why? It's not fair. Surely I'm no worse than anyone else. God, why? Tears were burning my eyes unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? My cries were only heard by the speechless statues of the pioneers and a bird on a tree, which immediately flapped its wings and took off, crying out something in its own bird language, as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its afternoon nap. I was left breathless from weeping, just lay quietly, sobbing occasionally. I After a while, I managed to pull myself together. My mind cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? It doesn't look like an experiment either. If this is just some crazy coincidence, then there's probably no threat. Anyway, for now it seems there's no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my temples, my hands were still shaking, but at least I could think clearly now. Right now, there's nothing I can really change anyway. So no matter how much I think or how mad I get, it would only make things worse. Until some actual facts appear, there's really no point in making guesses. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging around here. This camp, if of course it is really a camp, looked like the only place where people could be, so I decided to go there, and hardly had I reached the gates when a girl came out from behind them, wearing a pioneer uniform. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, a pioneer uniform in the 21st century. And then again, a girl here? I froze, unable to take a step. I felt very much like running away. Running as far away as I could from this place. Far from this bus, gates, statues, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta. Just running, like free like the wind, faster and faster, waving to the planets passing by, winking at the galaxies, running, becoming a pulsar ray, and turning into vestigial radiation. Vestigial? I think so. Running to face the unknown. Wow, that really escalated. Run no matter where, as long as it was far away from this place. Meanwhile, the girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts work independent of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for cognitive processes, the remaining 95% are always busy sustaining life, and in particular, ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal system. I desperately wanted to get less complicated and stop thinking in formal quotes from an encyclopedia, though my thoughts appeared one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of the hero of some junky softcover crime fiction book. A pretty Slavic face, long braids that looked like 2 armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes you could drown in. Hi! You must be... I am not going to attempt to do a girl's voice. That's just going to sound terrible. You must have just arrived. Can I... Oh, I can select them just by moving my... I don't have to use my mouse. I don't know, it's a little weird. I won't reply yet. I was frozen in astonishment. The girl looked perfectly normal, just like any ordinary human, but I still could not utter a single word. It's too late to run. Did I say something wrong? It took a monumental effort to answer. Yeah. What? Oh, nothing. I mean, I've just arrived. I replied quickly, beginning to worry that I might have blurted out something wrong. All right then, welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange, it looked as if I had just a normal girl in front of me. Bah, I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seemed better. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her as if she was a human, or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more, and the poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the gruesome contents of my skull. What's so funny about that? The girl looked me over. Sent shivers down my spine and my knees started to tremble. Nothing? Right then. great. What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget about the bus behind me. The fact that it was winter yesterday and summer today. I wanted to rip off my itchy sweater and just accept that all this is actually happening. Everything is as it should be. All this is for the best. Would you happen to know... You should go to the camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look. You go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. Pointed at the gates as if I knew what was behind them. What is that? I can't pronounce that. Is a patronymic? A derivative of a person's father's name, in this case Dmitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect for formal address. Okay, well, you can ask someone where Olga Dmitri... I cannot pronounce that, I'm sorry. Olga's cabin is... Got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I gotta go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. Seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travels while awake or asleep were troubling only to me, while everything here was just the way it was supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What are they doing, a historical reenactment here? I hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in the square. But even that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. A mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. Wow, that is quite an expression. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do, to approach first or wait until she showed some initiative. Or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested only by my self-preservation instinct. At least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Suddenly somebody jumped out of the nearby bushes. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. Such a perfect reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from a distance and was probably younger than both pioneer girls, one of the gates and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last, I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Eee! First girl squealed. She must not be too keen on insects, as she instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. The USSR glanced at me, grinning playfully, and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids here role-playing as pioneers. As far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. Might even be a different reality. This is indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seems so real, if a little embellished. But I was starting to think that, in fact, my previous life could have been just a dream. And what am I supposed to do now? I was picking at the cracked paving stones with my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. And that's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy from whimpering and self-pity is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seemed to have chosen the second option, because out of the blue I found the determination to figure out what was going on. In order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. I followed the path to the left, on the right side of which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I had never been part of its children's organizations, neither the pioneers nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks. Wake-up call at 6 o'clock, played by a siren. 1 minute to make your bed, then joining the formation at the drill square. Or wait, could I be confusing it with something else? Suddenly something struck me on the back. I staggered, but remained on my feet. Turned around and prepared to fight heroically for my life. But all I found was another girl standing before me. My mouth hung open in surprise. Pick your jaw up off the ground. I closed my mouth. Same pioneer uniform, but the way she was wearing it looked, let's say, provocative. Like all the girls I'd met here before, this one was rather cute. But her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. New here, are you? Fine. See ya. She threw a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger. Except maybe the danger of being punched in the nose. At last, I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin on an armored car, although one could easily expect something like that after all this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towered in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read, Genda. Must be some big figure in the party. There were some small benches at the sides. Quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or to the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. And why am I going there anyway? Oh, right, I decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Through a small grove? I came out at a pier. Must have taken a wrong turn. Hey, wrong way! I turned towards the voice. Whoa. First girl stood before me. Now what did I tell you? Take a left at the square, wasn't it? She changed from her pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavya? Actually, my full name's Slavyana, but everyone calls me Slavya. So you can too. Yeah. I still felt a bit confused, so I could not come up with more meaningful answers. And what's your name? Felt like she could see right through me. Yeah. Semyon. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait here a minute? I'm going to change, and we'll go to Olga Dmitrievna. Dmitrievna? I think. Together? Agreed? Agreed. After this exchange, she ran off. I sat on the pier and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather there was nothing wrong in getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that had happened. If this was some kind of conspiracy, it's a weird one, even too friendly at times. No, it really looks more like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event. Shall we go? Flavia was standing beside me, dressed in the pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. We walked to the square. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is that some kind of game they're playing? Yelena? Enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga. I'm not even gonna... I'll just call her Olga. It's fine. Aye aye, Captain. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on, or the local residents. Better meet with this mysterious Olga first. Sounds like she's the boss here. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stopped in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. The faded paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind. The large lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in a storm of purple silk, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. What are you standing around for? Let's go. Flavia snapped me out of my daydreaming. Voice. And stop teasing Lena already. Oh. Rina? Sound like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later the door swung open, and Yelena ran out and dashed past with the same mischievous grin. Pigtailed girl came out next. Don't let it bother you, Lena. So her name was Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least. But I didn't. Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason, I felt like turning and following her with my eyes, but Slavia said, "Come." We entered the cabin. Inside it looked something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, and a wardrobe. And a really creepy, bald guy. And somebody with a bag on their head? Okay, those aren't creepy at all. Nothing special, but at the same time it felt home-like and cozy, although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. You're finally here. Excellent. My name is Olga Dmitrievna. I am the camp leader. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. We've been expecting you since early morning. You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And when does the next bus come? Why do you need it? Yeah, right. Why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer, and I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean? I wanted to send a letter to my parents to tell them I got here fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out. Oh, but your parents called just half an hour ago. Sent their regards to you. Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Because I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. What? How the hell did they call? Then how could my parents make a call to here? I've just come back from the district's central town. I talked with them there. Ah, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town? No. She kept the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. I decided not to inquire about the troop leader, how the troop leader managed to get here and back. I would get no answer anyway. All this time, Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. I've got absolutely no desire to put on pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. Neckerchief? However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Right. Thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat. Rightio, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. Ended up alone with Slavia. I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk, look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. There was no threat or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although obviously my winter clothes were to blame for that. Took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it, and I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and look around the camp. Try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. It was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there were men even in this kingdom of Amazons. Hello there. Hello, you new here? You must be Simeon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm Electronek. Wow, that's quite a name, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. You're the real Electronek. Electronek was a robotic character appearing in popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Chizkov. Okay, Electronek, the real one. Things are going from crazy to completely insane. Alright. Yelena also calls me Cheesy. Cheesy? On toast? With mushrooms? Because my last name is Chizkov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer, as it would have taken much longer to get to know the place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again. As if this place was all there is to the camp. Lena was sitting on one of the benches, reading some book. Electronek confidently approached her. Hello, Lena. Meet the new guy, Semyon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that was better. It was better that way. Electronek's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next we came to a building, which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here, I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me in the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in the blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he's quite hilarious. First I need to figure out what's going on here, or at least where I am. Her over there, that's Alisa. Yeah, not gonna try to pronounce that. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Dva means two in Russian. The whole nickname sounds exactly like two in Russian, a reference to the late Tuch 2ch.ru, an anonymous message board. Don't ever risk calling her Davcha. Davcha? Something like that. She doesn't like it. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alyssa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you'll manage from here onwards? Electronic took to his heels. Screw that. Chase after him. I decided that I had no wish to come across as aggressive Alyssa girl again and darted after Electronic. Running to the square, I lost sight of him. But that name there wasn't chasing me either. However, I really should not risk calling her that, even in my mind. After catching my breath, I wondered why I had reacted like that. Alright, she is a girl, an aggressive one, but why run away? Failing to find a good answer, I sat down on the bench and stared at the monument to Genda. Genda. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in the direction where east would be in my mind. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. The game was in full swing here. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, even thought of going professional, but a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy, about 10, and a girl, about 14 years old. Girl. Hey, that's Ilana. Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey, you! Ilana shouted. Want to play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I'd sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would be simply unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around and walked back. Followed by Yelana's screams about my pants, or about me being a pansy, or something like that. About my pants, or being a pansy. Oh. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. Ugh. I came back to the square, sat down on the bench, and gave an exhausted sigh. And also ended this episode because it's running way over time. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.